Imagine this, it's February 2014, and armed men in crisp green uniforms, with no insignia, no flags, no identifying marks, suddenly appear across Crimea. They move like ghosts, seizing parliament buildings, blocking Ukrainian bases, taking control of airports, all without firing a shot in the opening hours. The world is asking, who are these guys? Moscow shrugs and calls them local self-defense forces. Only weeks later, Putin himself admits the truth, these were Russian troops. But not just any troops. These were the elite of the elite, the men of Russia's brand new Special Operations Forces, known as SSO. They're called Little Green Men in the media, but there's nothing little about what they can do. In a matter of days, they flipped an entire peninsula without a major battle. Polite, professional, and absolutely lethal. If that doesn't send a chill down your spine, nothing will. Welcome to the first episode of our new series, The World's Most Dangerous Special Operations Forces. We're kicking things off with one of the most secretive, most effective, and, let's be honest, most feared units on the planet, Russia's Special Operations Command, or SSO. These guys don't get the Hollywood spotlight like Delta or SEAL Team 6, but in the shadows, they've pulled off operations that changed maps and rewrote history. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why even Western special operators speak about them with serious respect, and a little dread. Let's dive in. First things first, Russia's special operations world is a maze, and a lot of people get lost in it. When you hear Russian Spetsnaz, what comes to mind? Probably Alpha Group storming theaters or bearded GRU operators in Chechnya. But that's only part of the picture. Russia has multiple elite units, and they're not all the same. Alpha Group and Vimpel, sometimes called Vega, both fall under the FSB, the Federal Security Service, Russia's domestic intelligence and counterterrorism agency. Alpha is the FSB's Directorate Tip of the Spear, hostage rescue, counterterrorism inside Russia, VIP protection. Vimpel, under the V Directorate, leans more toward foreign operations, sabotage, and deep penetration missions. Both are legendary for their brutality and skill, think Beslan, Dubrovka, or the assassinations abroad that keep popping up in headlines. Then there's GRU Spetsnaz, the military intelligence boys under the main intelligence directorate. For decades, GRU ran the most famous Spetsnaz brigades, hardened contract soldiers trained for deep reconnaissance, sabotage behind enemy lines, and direct action in support of conventional forces. At their peak, they had around 17,000 operators across multiple brigades, a naval Spetsnaz detachment, and even the 45th Guard Spetsnaz Brigade, probably the most decorated unit of its kind. But in 2009, Russia went through a massive military reform. The GRU Spetsnaz brigades were broken up and redistributed into regular army formations. A lot of their best operators were pulled out, and quietly set aside for something new. In 2013, just 1 year after the Russian Chief of the General Staff visited U.S. Special Operations Command in Tampa, the Russian military stood up its own dedicated Special Operations Forces Command. The first cadre came straight from those hand-picked GRU veterans. Headquarters was established at the 2nd Special Purpose Center in Kubinka, just outside Moscow, with additional centers in Chechnya and Crimea. Scale-wise, the SSO is tiny compared to the US SOCOM juggernaut of 70,000 plus personnel. The entire Russian SSO is estimated at only around 2,500 operators. That's it. But don't let the small size fool you. In the Russian military structure, the SSO is the 6th independent combat arm, standing equal to the Army, Navy, Aerospace Forces, Strategic Rocket Forces, and Airborne Troops. It has cross-service coordination authority and is treated as a strategic national asset. These guys answer directly to the general staff and, when needed, to the Kremlin itself. Their mission set is broad and ruthless: deep reconnaissance and sabotage, subversion and psychological operations, counterterrorism, counterintelligence, counter-guerrilla warfare, and high-value target elimination. They're built for hybrid warfare, the Russian specialty that blends conventional troops, proxies, disinformation, and elite operators into one seamless campaign. Training is brutal and highly selective. Officers go through the Ryazan Guard's Higher Airborne Command School, the Novosibirsk Higher Military Command School, and specialized intelligence courses. Every operator is expected to master parachuting, diving, mountain warfare, languages, and advanced weapons handling. Survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, SEER, training is taken deadly seriously, because these guys often operate deep in hostile territory with no hope of quick rescue. Now let's talk about what really sets them apart: their combat record. The SSO's very first real-world test was Crimea in 2014, and it was a masterclass. Working alongside airborne troops, naval infantry, and local proxies, SSO teams infiltrated ahead of the main force. Dressed in unmarked uniforms, armed with the latest kit, they moved at night, seized key infrastructure, and neutralized Ukrainian command posts before anyone even knew Russia had invaded. No insignia, no declarations of war, just polite, professional occupation. The phrase, "little green men," became internet legend, but behind the meme was a textbook hybrid operation that achieved strategic surprise and bloodless, for Russia, victory. Crimea was the coming-out party. Syria was where they proved they could fight, and win, against overwhelming odds. In March 2016, during the battle to retake Palmyra from ISIS, SSO Lieutenant Alexander Prokhorenko was surrounded deep behind enemy lines. Out of ammo and completely cut off, he called in an airstrike, on his own position. The strike wiped out the ISIS force closing in on him. Prokhorenko was posthumously awarded the Hero of the Russian Federation, the country's highest honor, personally presented by Putin in the Kremlin. It's the Russian equivalent of the Medal of Honor, and it's not handed out lightly. In 2017, a 16-man SSO detachment in Syria found itself encircled by roughly 300 ISIS fighters. They formed a circular defense, used terrain brilliantly, and called in Su-34 airstrikes so close that the shockwaves rattled their own positions. Result? The entire ISIS force destroyed. 0 Russian casualties. The detachment commander, Lieutenant Colonel Danila, last name classified, received the Hero of the Russian Federation. Later that same year, a 5-man SSO team was ambushed by around 40 ISIS militants. Both the commander and deputy were wounded early. A junior operator, Private Roman Potnyagin, held the line alone, killed 14 enemies, and was preparing to pull the pin on a grenade to avoid capture when reinforcements arrived. He, too, got the Hero Star. In less than 2 years, the SSO earned 3 Hero of the Russian Federation titles, something that speaks volumes about their combat effectiveness and sheer willpower. They also handle missions that mirror US Tier 1 units like the 24th Special Tactics Squadron, combat search and rescue, forward air control, and terminal guidance for precision strikes. In September 2017, a 29-man Russian military police detachment monitoring a de-escalation zone in Idlib was ambushed and surrounded. A joint Air Force SSO task force broke the siege. 3 SSO operators were wounded, but all 29 MPs were extracted alive. The very next day, SSO teams guided cruise missiles onto the attackers' positions, killing hundreds. When ISIS mortared Russia's Crimea airbase on New Year's Eve 2017, killing 2 pilots, SSO tracked the perpetrators within weeks and wiped out the entire cell. Even Western operators who face them have nothing but respect. A British Royal Army veteran who fought alongside Ukrainian forces in the current conflict described encountering SSO teams, high-speed Russian SSO guys working, super professional dudes. You've got to give it to them, they're trained, they know what they're doing. They're all cutting around in full ghillie suits, breaking contact perfectly, Aussie peel-back maneuvers, keeping fire down, suppressing you. Really formidable dudes. Not to be taken lightly. He called them deadly dudes and made it clear, not all Russian units are like this, but the SSO absolutely is. Compared to US Special Operations, the SSO operates at a disadvantage in gear and technology. American teams usually enjoy total air and electromagnetic dominance. Russian SSO often works in contested or denied environments with limited ISR and logistics. Yet they consistently punch way above their weight, achieving results that rival anything Delta or SEALs have done in Iraq or Afghanistan. In the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, SSO teams have been spotted conducting deep reconnaissance, laser-designating targets for precision artillery and missiles, and running sabotage missions far behind the front lines. Their signature is still the same: quiet insertion, overwhelming precision, rapid exfiltration. So where does that leave us? The Russian Special Operations Command may be small, only about 2,500 operators, but they are a strategic scalpel in Moscow's arsenal. Built for hybrid warfare, forged in Crimea, blooded in Syria, and still active today, they've proven time and again that they can seize territory without declaration, win impossible battles, and exact revenge with terrifying efficiency. They don't have the budget or the global reach of US SOCOM, but in the dark art of unconventional warfare, they are absolutely world-class, and yes, extremely dangerous. That's it for part 1 of our series on the world's most dangerous special operations forces. If you thought the SSO was impressive or terrifying, wait until we cover the next unit. Drop a comment, have you heard about the little green men before? What do you think makes the SSO so effective? Training, doctrine, or sheer willpower? Let me know below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss part 2. We're just getting started on this series, and trust me, the units coming up are even wilder.